Stop. 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 Had enough? Kick out mucus and quiet the cough with Mucinex 12-Hour DM for long-lasting cough and chest congestion relief. Buy Mucinex 12-Hour DM at your local retailer. Use as directed.
Deciding which credit card or loan is right for you is like trying to choose where you want to eat for dinner. Except when you finally get to the restaurant, the menu's riddled with jargon that no average foodie could understand. So at Credit Karma, we keep things simple. We show you personalized recommendations that align with your money goals and help you turn the confusing fine print into terms you can actually understand. And as a cherry on top, we provide a detailed overview for a new card or loan before you apply. That way, we can help you make decisions faster and with more confidence. Download Intuit Credit Karma today to get started.
1, 2, 3, 4. Monster movie.
Fun time, go! Monster movie.
Fun time, go. Monster
Movie.
Fun time.
Go!
Monster movie. Fun time, go.
With Precious D and Honeybee.
Fun time, go!
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends and neighbors, welcome to Monster Movie Fun Time Go.
31 Days of the Dead. Day 24.
We're continuing with our Halloween marathon, and my guest today is my sister, my other sister, Amanda Lopez. Welcome back to the show, Amanda.
Hello. I'm back.
We're going to chat today about Planet Terror, or Grindhouse Planet Terror. Amanda, were you familiar with this movie before I assigned it to you? Okay.
Nope,
so,
not at all.
Did you read about it at all?
I did not, because I wanted to just experience the experience.
I mean afterwards. I was just going to explain it. Okay. So in 2007, Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino released a thing called Grindhouse, which was a double feature of two movies that they made. Rodriguez directed Planet Terror, and Quentin Tarantino directed a thing called Death Proof. But they both really kind of co-directed both of them. It's just Robert was in the front seat for Planet Terror and Quentin was in the front seat for Death Proof. But I believe they were both on set most of the time for both of those movies. And they were meant to be in the style of old Grindhouse movies, which refers to a type of low budget, cheap exploitation movies that these small companies would grind out to have things in the movie theaters and in the drive-ins. And they both had a love for these kind of old movies. So the movie looks bad on purpose.
Right.
All of they doctored the film or the video or however they shot it to have that grainy look and lots of scratches and lines, because those movies would, they'd only make a few prints and then they'd send them out to places and send it back to another place, and they got used a lot, and they would break and get repaired and have missing frames, and they'd have scratches, and in some cases an entire reel might be missing.
Mm-hmm.
Tarantino mentions this actual film that he watched that a friend had. It's some Italian film, and it's missing a reel, but he felt like the movie still worked with the missing reel. So that's what's going on with the style of this movie. They also made fake trailers for the movies. When you watched it on Vudu, was there a fake trailer at the beginning?
I think, but I didn't click on it if there were.
Okay. Because on the DVD, it just plays it. So in the theater, there was fake trailer before the movie, and then in between the two movies, they had some more fake trailers. Then they released the films on DVD separately because Planet Terror was more popular than Death Proof, I think, and they thought they might make more money. I don't know. It's since come out back in its original format, but some of these fake trailers ended up getting turned into full movies. So the fake trailer for Planet Terror was Machete with Danny Trejo.
Mm-hmm.
That got turned into 2 real movies, actually. And there was also a trailer for something called Hobo with a Shotgun. That was like he had a contest for fake trailers. And that was the one that got picked and eventually turned into an actual movie. So there you go. Let me quickly read our cast before we get into the rest of it. Rose McGowan is Cherry Darling. Freddie Rodriguez, no relation to Robert Rodriguez, is El Rey. Josh Brolin is Dr. William Block. Marley Shelton as Dr. Dakota Block. Jeff Fahey as J.T. Haig. Michael Biehn as Sheriff Haig. Rebel Rodriguez, who is related to Robert, that's his son, as Tony Block. Bruce Willis as Lieutenant Muldoon. Naveen Andrews as Dr. John Abington. Julio Oscar Machozo, I don't know, as Romy. Fergie as Tammy Visan. Nikki Cat as Joe. Hung Nguyen as Dr. Crane. Tom Savini as Deputy Tolo. Carlos Gallardo as Deputy Carlos. Skip Reesing as Skip. Okay. Electra and Elsie Avalon as Crazy Babysitter Twins. And that's actually how they're listed in the credits, as that's their starring name is, and featuring the Crazy Babysitter Twins. Quentin Tarantino as Lewis, Rapist Number 1, unpleasant. Greg Kelly as Rapist Number 2. Michael Parks as Earl McGraw. Gerald Romero as Ramona McGraw. And Felix S. Sabates as Dr. Felix. A lot of people just using their own first names in this movie. So, Amanda, what did you think of Planet Terror?
Well, I liked it. I would watch it again if I felt the need to see that kind of movie again. It was entertaining. I wouldn't need to sit down and fully focus on it again. I would play it in the background, maybe while, sorting socks or something like that. Just when you want some background noise kind of thing.
Okay.
But I enjoyed it, if you can enjoy such a film.
Okay. I saw this in the theater. I think I saw it with our father when it first came out.
Weird.
So we saw all the fake trailers.
Fun.
You might want to watch Death Proof if you enjoyed this one. It's a lot less gory. I did want to mention, and there's a crossover between the 2 movies. The doctor, Josh Brolin's doctor. Somebody's brought in Death Proof. Somebody's brought into the hospital at one point, and Josh Brolin is the doctor. And the Earl McGraw, Michael Parks as Earl McGraw, is in like 4 or 5 different Tarantino and or Rodriguez movies, playing that character. So I think he's meant to be the retired sheriff in this movie, but he is he's the current sheriff in like From Dusk Till Dawn and Kill Bill and a couple of other things. And his actual son plays his deputy, who I think is meant to be his son in 1 or more of those movies. So that's just part of them, tying their movies together into the same universe. Except I don't know how well this one works as part of being in the same universe, because the world kind of comes to an end in it.
Yeah.
The zombie outbreak gets out of control and wrecks society, apparently. So.
It does seem pretty rapid, I have to say. Yeah.
Yeah. There's some sort of government experiment with some kind of gas that seems like it's not exactly meant to be a zombie gas, but a just overwhelming virus gas. Like you just get infected with every possible horrible disease you possibly could all at once. And this causes you to act like a zombie.
Yeah, I felt a little confused about what exactly was happening.
Right? Yeah, it's a little weird. So what did you know Bruce Willis was going to be in it?
No. So I purposefully didn't check out trailers or read about it so I could just be surprised. And your viewing audience will not know, but Dominic knows that I love Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
I have always loved Bruce Willis. So when he entered, I wrote down, enter Bruce Willis, yes, with all these S's and exclamation points. So that was exciting for me because, I mean, if you're going to have an action-esque movie, who do you have in it but Bruce Willis?
Yeah. I'd kind of forgotten he was in it. So when they did his reveal, I was like, oh, Amanda's going to like this.
Yes, I didn't really know who anybody was in it. So every time someone new came on, I was like, what?
Okay.
That guy? That person? And all my responses were to, like, who else could we put in this movie? Because there's a ton of people in this movie.
Do you know Tom Savini at all?
Which one is that? I forgot.
He was Deputy Tolo, the one that gets his finger bit, the one with the mustache.
No, he's the one that does an unnecessary paddle turn at one point, I noticed. That's the choreography speak for some of you later, but in an action scene, he's like just turning and circling with his gun. And I'm like, okay, chaos is happening around him, but pause for him to do a little pirouette turn, paddle turn, dance break.
He's an actor, but he's mostly known for doing special effects makeup. That's how he in a lot of the Romero movies, and then because of that ends up often getting cast in horror movies. And these guys have used him before. He's in From Dusk Till Dawn. He's the guy with the crotch gun in From Dusk Till Dawn. So he has a bit part in one of the other movies we covered this season, the remake of Day of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead, the remake of Dawn of the Dead. He's playing a sheriff that we see on TV briefly. So I'm just always pleased to see Tom Savini. Always happy to see him. But that's why he's in this in this movie. And of course, Tarantino put himself in it, as he always does. And why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I actually really like the missing reel in this movie. Because there's a part where they've all gone the zombie outbreak has happened. The hospital's been overrun. Various things are overrun, and they're all going to this barbecue place that's kind of up on a hill that they think might be secure. And they've gotten in there, and then suddenly there's a missing reel, and the whole place is on fire.
Right.
We don't know how it caught.
Yeah.
We don't know what went wrong or how it caught on fire.
Yeah. Just fast forward, everyone, pretty much.
And also there's been a big reveal about El Rey and his background, that the sheriff's been down on this guy. He's a guy from the town who went away and has recently come back, and he's always getting in trouble with the law. But it turns out he's some sort of super duper government operative of some kind that we don't get to hear the explanation of. But the sheriff has been shot by Tom Savini accidentally in the neck. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, if I had known, I wouldn't have given you such a hard time.
And so I was assuming, if you were, that they were saying El Rey, like the king in Spanish. Right? But then they just kept calling him Ray. Like on the truck, it's spelled W-R-A-Y.
Yes. Right. And I had the subtitles on. So, but I don't know what does that doesn't mean anything itself though.
No, I don't know. I think that was just to confuse us.
Well, I think maybe also, so I guess his name is Ray with a W, but they call him El Rey in his, government capacity. I guess they're making a pun.
Right.
But years later, Rodriguez would go on to start a television network called the El Rey Network, spelled R-E-Y, the King Network.
Right.
That featured a lot of sort of kung fu movies, a lot of Grindhouse kind of stuff, kung fu movies, luchador wrestling, and a TV series version of From Dusk Till Dawn.
Okay.
That had 2 seasons. I think it might still exist as some kind of a streaming thing, but it had gone off of the when we still had satellite cable, whatever you call that. It had gone away, but I think it still exists in some format. It might be a channel on Tubi now or something like that. I don't know. Any other moments that stood out to you or performances?
Well, just on that note, like once he realizes who he is and says, like, I didn't realize it. And he's like, give him the gun, give him all the guns,
Right.
That was a funny moment to me.
Yeah.
And then
Speaking
we get to
of
see
guns,
gunslinger spinning skills.
yeah, yes. Speaking of guns, the most awesome part of this movie, which is also the most ridiculous part of this movie, is Rose McGowan's peg leg gun.
Sure. Yes.
So Rose McGowan plays a go-go dancer, not a stripper, a go-go dancer who sustains an accident. Well, first she just gets her leg horribly scratched. I'm like, well, that's not good for a dancer. But then there's a car wreck and she ends up having it removed. And no time for a proper prosthetic. So first she just has a table leg as a peg leg. But then later on, El Rey fits her with this combination machine gun and grenade launcher. Which is, it's all very cool, but it's also completely ridiculous because apparently she can just control it with her mind.
Right. I was like, how is she actually shooting this thing? She's just doing it. They do not establish that there's any kind of trigger mechanism or, I fixed up the trigger to respond to your muscle flexing on what's left of your leg. No, she just thinks it and the gun fires or switches to grenade. It switches to grenade mode. So that, I think it is part of the whole style they're trying to emulate, that it doesn't make any sense and we don't care. But once I accepted that, it was fine. Like, none of this movie is practical, realistic. Right. Got it. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. But I think it would have just made it just slightly better if they had just addressed that in some way at all. There's a remote control. It's in your hand,
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah.
It would have just made it just a little bit better. But it wasn't part of the missing reel, so they can't claim, it was explained, just you didn't see it.
Right.
So, what did you think of Rose McGowan?
I thought she was nice. I thought she was good. I liked her. She was very in shape, as you would be as a go-go dancer, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, she was fine. I didn't love her. I didn't hate her. Solid passing grade from me.
Right. I believe for years they were trying to make a movie with her playing Red Sonja, but it just, got stuck in development hell and never got made.
It felt like Rose McGowan playing Rose McGowan, but I was okay with that.
Okay.
The opening dance went on too long for me, but for some viewing audience, maybe lovely.
Yeah. That was part of the whole exploitation thing, but also I think they were purposely featuring her legs quite a lot so that it would mean something when she lost her legs. So we would appreciate what she had lost.
Right.
I did really like the whole bit about his jacket. So Rose, her character Cherry Darling, which is not her real name, has had a relationship in the past with El Rey, and she left him and took his jacket. And he keeps bringing this up, that I looked for it for 2 weeks. And it turns out that he was going to ask her to marry him, and the ring was in that jacket. And it was still in the jacket because she never bothered to reach into the right side, the left side inside pocket, breast pocket to see what that bulge was. So
there was a moment there. It was, how many years has it supposedly been since his breakup? Like, did it just happen? It's a long
really
time
unclear.
to not notice something in the jacket, is what I'm saying.
Right. And the thing is, they're both still pretty young, so it couldn't have been too long. But he has had time to go off and have this military career where he's become a bit of a legend. So
Right.
who knows? At least it's got to be at least 1 year, but probably 5. I'm guessing 3 to 5 years. Who knows? I don't remember. I don't know if I've seen him in anything else.
Didn't recognize him.
Oh, he did have a recurring role on Ugly Betty, but I do not remember this character. I watched all of Ugly Betty, not when it was new. I binged it years later on Netflix. He's gotten 2 SAG awards and 4 Imaging awards. I don't know that award. So good for him.
And the one guy, I'm just like jumping topics, was the guy in Lost, right? Wasn't he in Lost? Or am I making that up? The scientist guy we see in the beginning?
Naveen Andrews.
Maybe.
He was in The English Patient, Mighty Joe Young, Rollerball, Bride and Prejudice.
Then I'm making up.
Yes, Lost. That. No, it is Lost. Good. Yes. Saeed
when he showed up on screen, I said, the guy from Lost.
He's a British-American actor. But there seems, just from the look at it of him, I'm guessing there's some Indian in his background. Also Naveen, I think is might be an Indian name.
I was happy to see him. So if you liked him in Lost, you will like him in this, I think. A very different character, but, you know.
I didn't really get why his character was collecting testicles.
Me either. No.
Because when the shit hits the fan early in the film and the jar breaks, he starts trying to scoop them up like he needs them. Not just wants them, but needs them for his research or something. But that's never made clear. Because he's collected a bunch of them later on from the infected guys. There's I don't know. Do we need to bother explaining what there's a group, there's a military group. There's this zombie gas is going to be some kind of weapon, maybe. There is a group of soldiers led by Bruce Willis who was exposed to it in small doses, possibly purposely, because they were going to be working with it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get a big dose of it, you turn into a zombie, and then I guess you can infect other people with your zombiness. If you get small doses, it kind of builds up an immunity, but you need to continue to get the small doses or you will start to turn. So it's like a drug addiction kind of thing.
Yeah. So
this whole group has these little gas masks and canisters that are slowly doling out the gas to them. And that's what's going on in the beginning is that they need more of it. And they're trying to get it from Dr. Abington, who wants somebody's balls because of this. I don't understand what that was all about. I think it was just trying to be bizarre and gross, just as part of the whole gross nature of the horror in this movie.
Right. That was I thought, did I miss something? I don't know. So yeah, that's what I assumed.
Yeah. I don't think you did. I don't think you missed anything. Anything else you want to mention before we wrap it up?
Is the gas really caffeine is what I'm now thinking of like you need a little exposure, you need a little every day, you're a zombie without it. Was this really an artistic piece referencing the country's addiction on caffeine and coffee? Just throwing that out there. But besides that, no, let me think if there was anything, I did like the sheriff and his brother. They had a couple little running things about the barbecue recipe. I liked him.
Yeah.
There were some nice little moments. Fergie, she was Fergie.
Ooh, which one was Fergie?
She was towards the beginning. No spoiler alerts, as if we haven't given a million already, but she doesn't last through the whole movie. She was at the beginning. She had car trouble.
Yes,
we see her outside the barbecue place.
Yeah. Oh, we didn't mention it at all. There's this whole family drama going on between the Block family, the two doctors and their son.
Oh,
And
yeah.
the she's in an abusive relationship and is making plans to leave it. Tammy Veason is who she was playing. And it turns out the friend that is coming to get her is actually part of the reason they're having a bad relationship. She had some kind of affair with her. But he was probably abusive before that. That's probably why she was having an affair. Who knows? But yeah, there's just some insanity going in the middle of this zombie outbreak. There's all this personal shit going on at the same time. So
yes,
I really I liked that. I liked how there was layers of horror going on. This very personal horror of the abusive husband, who's also a doctor, whose job is to help people, and it seems like he's actually good at that job.
Right. He's just a terrible person.
Yeah, he just a shit husband.
Yes.
And possibly okay at being a father. That's a little unclear. The interaction we see with his son all seems okay and appropriate. But
there were some
the interactions with his wife.
Serious moments, I feel like, in the film. For it being ridiculous and humor at times, there were things like their relationship and other things that happen in the film that I'm like, didn't like you said their titles earlier, the rapists. You're like, oh, that was unnecessary and something that happens with somebody else. I don't want to give away everything, but surprisingly dark stuff that shows up in what seems like a silly zombie movie of sorts.
Right. But he gets what's coming to him, though.
Right. Instant karma.
Yeah. So I have a list here of all the fake trailers that I didn't notice earlier. Because more than two of them got turned into real movies. There's a Machete, of course. Machete.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon. The holidays are here, and you know what that means. It's time to get your friends and family the gifts they deserve. Take the stress out of shopping with Amazon's great deals and low prices on a huge range of items from toys to tech and much more. Whoever you're gifting for, Amazon has great prices on everything you need this holiday season. Shop early holiday deals now.
Then there was Werewolf Women of the SS that Rob Zombie directed. So once this got out that they were going to be making fake trailers, other directors came to him and were like, ooh, can I do one? So Rob Zombie made Werewolf Women of the SS that notably stars Nicolas Cage as Dr. Fu Manchu.
Okay.
Don't by Edgar Wright. Zombie apparently filmed so much that he had like basically a half-hour short film and had to trim it down to a 2 or 3 minute trailer. Don't by Edgar Wright, which was in the style of 70s Hammer horror movies, much more less of a gory film and more of a creepy, ghosty type of film.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving by Eli Roth, which finally was turned into a real movie in 2023 when that one came out. And then Hobo with a Shotgun. Full-length film, 2011 is when the full-length movie. And Rutger Hauer is in the real version. He's not in the fake trailer, but he's in the real version. So there you go, folks. If you're interested, you can go check out those movies.
Yeah.
So... Amanda, what we're rating things on a 1 to 5 brains scale this year. What are you going to rate Grindhouse Planet Terror?
I will give it a 4 out of 5, which is surprisingly a high rating for me because I do like that Cherry found her purpose, I feel like, in life. And in the beginning, we open with her. Basically, I don't know if this viewing audience is going to know Sweet Charity, but the musical where she's like, I'm not going to be the world's first little old taxi dancer. And I feel like that's what Cherry's going through. Like, I got to get out of here. There's got to be something better than this. It's the song from Sweet Charity. Like, there's more to this life than this go-go dancing. And at the end, we get to see that she has found a purpose with her life. So even though it's a silly, ridiculous movie, it's still in
all it took was the end of the world for her to find her purpose.
That's right. So you too can find your purpose, everyone. We just need a zombie apocalypse and to end up saving people.
It's happened a couple of other movies. A couple other movies that we watched. The person came into their own once the shit hit the fan. I have previously given this a 5 rating. I noticed when I went on Letterboxd to log that I'd watched it again, and I rated it a 5 in the past. So I guess I'll go ahead and stick by that and say I loved it. I loved it, even though that gun is ridiculous. Yeah, I think I probably loved it more the first time I saw it, when I just didn't know what all was coming.
Sure.
But I'm still going to say that I loved it. I certainly still like it, so I'm going to stick with that. 5 brains. Certainly, if on the scale of zombie movies, if you're looking for gore and horror and all that kind of nonsense, it's got 5 brains full of all of that kind of stuff.
It does. It shows up later than you think it will, though. I did notice that.
Yeah.
It kind of is a slow start. So if you're looking for the gory grossness, wait a little bit. It will start. And then once it does start, it's committed.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for joining me, Amanda. And thanks for listening, everybody. If you like the show, please like and subscribe and rate and review and all those things. We'll be back with another movie tomorrow as we continue this October marathon. Until then, I have been Precious D. With me has been Amanda. Remember to keep calm and take shelter in basements. Please don't misuse science. We won't see you, but you will hear us next time on Monster Movie Fun Time Go. You've been listening to Monster Movie Fun Time Go. If you enjoyed the show, please consider rating and reviewing us on your podcasting platform of choice. You can leave us a message and find links to all our things at mmftg.com.